the late 1980s, scientists would discover the endocannabinoid system within the human body. Now, this would lay waste to claims for decades that cannabinoids had no beneficial purpose for human consumption.
Obesity, particularly abdominal obesity and the associated cardiometabolic complications, are critical areas of investigation. The endocannabinoid system helps to regulate the central control of energy balance and peripheral metabolic processes, both of which may contribute to cardiometabolic risk factors. The endocannabinoid system, or ECS, influences multiple physiologic processes. This intricate system modulates energy intake, as well as nutrient transport, metabolism, and storage. The ECS regulates these processes through endogenous ligands, such as anandamide and 2-arachidonylglycerol, and the CB1 receptor. CB1 receptors are located in the brain, digestive tract, muscle, and adipose tissue. Integration of these central and peripheral ECS components is achieved through neuronal and hormonal signaling. Within the brain, CB1 receptors are among the most abundant G-protein-coupled receptors. However, in contrast to classical signaling, where information travels from pre- to post-synaptic neurons, the ECS uses retrograde signaling. The information travels from post to presynaptic neuron. Let's take a closer look at this mechanism using a glutamatergic neuron model. When an action potential reaches the axon terminal, membrane depolarization triggers the release of glutamate. Glutamate binds to postsynaptic glutamate receptors, inducing calcium channels to open. During periods of intense neural activity, calcium accumulates in the postsynaptic neuron. This calcium buildup causes the synthesis and release of endocannabinoids from membrane lipids. Diffusing across the synaptic cleft, the endocannabinoids bind to the CB1 receptor, activating the G proteins. Activation influences ion flow. The result, suppression of presynaptic neurotransmitter release. Endocannabinoids are subsequently taken back into the cell and enzymatically degraded. In addition to acting as neural messengers, endocannabinoids mediate paracrine and autocrine signaling in adipocytes, hepatocytes, and other cells. Endocannabinoid system activity in the central nervous system regulates food intake. For example, ECS stimulation by hunger and fasting signals stimulates appetite and increases the palatability of food. Endocannabinoids slow gastric emptying and GI transit and appear to stimulate secretion of ghrelin, a neuropeptide that increases appetite and food intake. After eating, cholecystokinin in the duodenum triggers satiety signals. Subsequently, ECS activity is decreased through suppression of CB1 expression. An increase in the adiposity hormone leptin decreases endocannabinoid levels in the hypothalamus and decreases food intake. ECS regulation of peripheral metabolism influences energy balance. Stimulation of the ECS increases food intake and adiposity. Conversely, blocking CB1 receptors reduces food intake and adiposity. In the liver, ECS stimulation can lead to lipogenesis through the activation of hepatic lipogenic enzymes and increased fatty acid synthesis. Chronic stimulation of the ECS is associated with dyslipidemia. Activation of CB1 receptors increases expression of SREBP1C, a lipogenic transcription factor, and increases fatty acid synthesis. SREBP1C increases production of lipogenic enzymes, ACC1, and fatty acid synthase. Increased fatty acid synthesis can lead to production of large triglyceride-rich VLDL. Large triglyceride-rich VLDL sets the stage for the atherogenic lipid profile of small, dense LDL, decreased levels of atheroprotective HDL, and overall increases in cholesterol and triglyceride levels. Adiponectin, another hormone secreted by adipocytes, regulates lipid and glucose metabolism. Adiponectin is believed to regulate fatty acid oxidation in muscle and liver, thus improving insulin sensitivity. CB1 receptor stimulation in adipocytes reduces adiponectin, while CB1 blockade increases adiponectin synthesis. Metabolic dysregulation leads to a constellation of symptoms including abdominal obesity, atherogenic dyslipidemia, hypertension, insulin resistance, prothrombotic state, and pro-inflammatory state. As basic and clinical research progresses, we will continue to increase our understanding of the central and peripheral endocannabinoid system and its role in the regulation of metabolic function.
Have it in one plain video. Cannabis could be mankind's symbiotic plant. Until next time, I'm William Martin with Cannabis Science.
Hello everyone, thanks for having me. So my name's Keiron and I've had epilepsy since I was 4. Well, petit mal it started off with, which for what should have been a quite controllable situation turned out to be uncontrolled, and I was medicated for most of my childhood and wasn't allowed to do the things that normal children do, like ride bikes and go swimming. So I feel I've had my childhood robbed in a way, you know. So, you know, when I'm not medicated with cannabis, epilepsy plays a major role in my life. I have to plan ahead, I have to involve people, and I have to, most of all, remind myself that I've got epilepsy on a daily basis. But when I use cannabis, it changes all that. Now, the reason why I come along cannabis was pretty extreme. I broke my leg. I come off my bike that I ride for my local town, snapped my leg in half, and basically I was on the highest dose of Epilim that I could have been prescribed at the time, which was nearly 2,000 milligrams a day. So yeah, those days were pretty dark as well. But anyway, I had a seizure and I just thought to myself, I need to get this sorted. I can't rely on the doctor to get me better anymore. So I just researched alternative medicine, and cannabis is a 4,000-year-old remedy for convulsions and seizures. And I feel very frustrated because what we're trying to prove now in 5-year studies is what was common knowledge 10,000 years ago. You know, the side effects to cannabis are zilch compared to what I compared the side effects to my Epilim was. One of the side effects was convulsions. So when I think about it now, why was I taking it for so long? That's what I was trying to prevent. And it just seems mad, because until you look back at the situation you're in, and you're guided by others that have already been medicated off this super plant, it doesn't ingest, because we don't get brought up with this about cannabis. It's demonised. It has been for the last 40 years. So, you know, we think we found a miracle, but really it's just Mother Nature, you know, doing its thing. So obviously the UPA is here for us to all speak under one banner, and we've all got the same thing in common. You know, that's what I love about the UPA. It's all, you know, family knit, if you like, tight knit, and I love you all. And if it wasn't for you here tonight, this event wouldn't be what we hoped it would, and you're the people that keep the UPA going. The power's in the testimony, man, and you know, if you're thinking about getting up and saying a few words, please do, because as I say, the power's in the testimony, and everybody should have access to this plant. So I'm going to keep it short, but